All right. So if this red light is to be believed, I do believe that means we are. Hey, we're live. Here back on an exciting Monday episode as we all gather here on 1 week to Halloween as we say goodbye to G4 and bury it just like some of the bad memes and old stale memes of this year, which, it's coming up for New Year's. It's going to be fun as we say goodbye to the old memes. But, well, before I let everyone go, I am your host here for tonight, here on a nice, exciting edition of Low Key Wall. I am Harry, the moving target. Since you guys all know that I don't fly solo, I'm always having other people with me. I am joined by Reinhold. Reinhold, you want to say hi?
Hello, and I just want to give a public service announcement to everybody out there that since it's this time of the year, that my culture is not your Halloween costume. So just remember that.
No one knows what you're talking about. You've got to,
show a picture. You got it. You're the one that shared it.
Oh God, don't even have that cued.
I hit you.
I know, right? Got me off. It's hard because, I'm also
you're going to talk about that.
If we had producer Paul in the background, it'd be easier. I don't know why we were. Goddamn producer Paul.
He'd have to pay attention, and the editor would have to pay attention to that. I don't know if it's good.
Exactly. And anyways, when last week, after the episode, I got sick last week, and just give good PSA to everybody, understanding if you're at Reinhold's house, stay away from the hard candy. It is old. It will make you sick. So, if you're at his house, just eat the cookies and the gummy bears. And if Reinhold says only eat half a cookie, eat quarter of the cookie. He's got a weird tolerance. Okay. So, did he try to say something with no one here?
The gummy bears, man.
Oh, right here, how's that? This was right. Yeah, they got Spirit Halloween putting up right.
That's why I wear the shirt tonight, by the way. Just he looks familiar, doesn't he?
All right, so the other person you hear laughing in the background. We got Vincent, so we're gonna say hi.
Hello, I'm here once again to talk about things that were my childhood and then came back into a place that was not anywhere where it was before.
Yeah. So anyway, these guys were all prepped this morning to go ahead and talk about, go back to the media that shaped us. Keep going. We're going to do 3 Mondays in a row. And I had to stop this combo before it gets any better because I wanted to talk about something else. That's right.
Delaying the sad. I get it.
That's not really delaying the sad. My show's happy. Okay. I don't know the problem with your show. My show's happy.
Every episode we do gets closer and closer to your line, April.
Yeah, it's fine. I've prepared everybody for that. I've got a good episode, and then we'll talk about everything we're going on the next year. But yes, Eschatological is like nostalgia doesn't work. Nostalgia doesn't a network make.
Yep.
So these guys were ready, which means Harry didn't do homework. First off, I was sick and sitting at home, and it was easy to watch anime when you're sitting underneath your kotatsu, sweating. And most of the Rurouni Kenshin, at least the first part about it, I could easily watch with my daughter. It's the other stuff that we get later in the series. I can't really watch those, or the remakes or the movies that they redid, which are honestly for a live action anime very well done. Okay, Rurouni Kenshin, live action.
That's a low bar to clear, though. It's an absurdly low bar to clear.
Well, oh come on, Full Metal Alchemist raised a little bit.
Which one? Both of those movies that were trash and made no sense and try to condense entire story arcs.
It raised the bar higher than Death Note. Okay, it got it higher.
Did it? Freaking Dragon Ball Evolution was better than Death Note. And Dragon Ball Evolution is why we have Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah.
So, I mean, come on.
Wow, right, I was like, what?
Movies made on live action.
I assume this is hilarious, by the way.
It is. It is. It is hilarious. Imagine them taking like good, like, all right, how can I put it? Trying to think.
Imagine they take one of your favorite books, and then when they put it into a movie, they just butcher the entire narrative of the book and combine the entire like two
Ooh, I got it. I got it.
The book into one movie.
I got it. Imagine Good Omens, right? You remember that? You remember Good Omens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that, but instead of David Tennant,
Michael Sheen.
In Michael Sheen, it was done by it was done by Miramax in the 90s with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Whoa. Ben Affleck and Pauly Shore.
Ooh, shit.
That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Or Pauly Shore and
a Miramax
Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah, exactly.
Oof.
Just move things.
That would have been the 80s for me, late early 90s. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because Harry, if we're gonna talk about this topic, the best anime movie is Speed Racer.
No,
it's absolutely Speed Racer.
Have you seen the Chinese Initial D?
You attempted to watch it with me. It's still Speed Racer. Speed Racer still feels like Speed Racer the show.
It does. And
it feels exactly like how the show would feel.
You know what makes that movie even better? You remove the soundtrack and you add the Initial D Super Euro beats, and then rewatch them. It's so much better. Like, it just puts it at a different level. Okay,
of course.
Level. Okay. So Escalagula. Dragon Ball Evolution, you uncultured swine. Wow. Yeah. So no.
But anyway, back on topic.
So I wanted to talk about something else, bring something else up, because I am anticipating the Wednesday, the Adam's Family Wednesday show that's coming out on Netflix, and the trailers are coming out because it's coming out next month in November. No need to apologize, Esca the Geese. We know you like the show. He says he's just kidding. DB is trash, but we know he loves it. Favorite. Matter of fact, I think I might get him a copy on Blu-ray for his birthday.
Hey, you're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed the series. I really love that series as well.
Jacques Idel. Thanks, Vincent, for the anime recommendations of Rascal. All right. Anyways,
see, our project is working.
It is working.
What we're talking about.
You guys are talking about media that people can actually get to and consume, as opposed to what I did last week, where you can't find it anywhere unless you go steal it.
Hey, you did Kids in the Hall during the summer. People can go to all kinds of yard sales, right? And pick it up, okay?
It's on it. If you don't have Amazon Prime, you don't get the 6th season. Sorry. They took them all off YouTube, too. They had all of them on YouTube at one point. And Amazon fought and had them all cut off and pulled. You have to go to Amazon Prime to see them all now.
Yep. Locked behind Jeff Bezos' paywall. So, okay. What Charlie Chaplin's last film? What Charlie?
Because you're never gonna find it. He has a point. He has a point.
You.
No. That it's not a lost film. It's one of his best ones ever made, and it's available out there. It's not like I'm going to be talking about is the old Keystone episodes he first started on. Those are hard to find. I found a bunch of them on. My mom used to buy them for me when she would find them in the store. She'd find a VHS tapes of a collection of Harry Chapin short, or not Harry Chapin, but Charlie Chaplin shorts.
Which you crack.
So I have a lot of that stuff.
I
just don't have a VHS player to play them on anymore.
Oof.
Oh. Do you want me to convert?
As Harry plays?
Let me go.
I started converting some of those stuff, and I was just like, this is too much trouble. I can go find it on a certain website anytime I want. So why bother? It's all digital. Somebody else has already done the work.
Eskimo Play says, just because you saw them in theaters doesn't mean you need to brag. All right.
Okay, so you were talking about the Wednesday show here.
Yeah, I'm anticipating.
Yeah, I heard
the
the first talkie.
Yeah, the Wednesday show, right? The Netflix adventure. Like one, my daughter got me to watch the animated Addams Family movies. I didn't want to watch them; it wasn't one on my radar because like they looked too kiddish, and I wasn't really into them. And she kind of just picked them and played them, and she has been playing them over and over again. And I loved them; they were interesting. I did think they were. I think one my complaint with them was that they were very it clearly meant for children, and it was very Wednesday focus, even though it was it says Addams Family on it. And I just wish it would, just like focus more on like the other family of the lore and just make things, some of the things to wrapped up make a little bit more sense. But that's me. I'm an adult. This is a kids animated short movie for kids and stuff like that. That's what it was meant for. So I will, give it, I will gloss over those plot holes.
You'll give it
Addams Family started out as a cartoon series.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In I think New Yorker, if I remember right.
Yeah, it was a cartoon strip, and then and then the TV show, and then back to then comics and cartoons, and
then the live action movies.
Yeah, which gave it like more prominence into most people, think of it and stuff like that, and gave it a little bit more seriousness to what was going on, but it's still lighthearted, like like family movie.
Who you can tell how what generation someone's in is who's their Gomez, right?
Oh, it's Raul's Julia.
Yeah. Sorry,
mm-hmm.
Sorry.
That's
the Aston. Sorry, original OG,
which is fair, but Raul's Julia made that role his own, and I can't see anybody else but him as it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can see that, but I can see I think maybe because I've seen some the live action stuff on plays and stuff like that, so I'm able to see other people play Gomez, and that which will help when you go to watch other things else like that, because a lot of people the new Gomez, which everyone had a field day about, oh my god, this looks nothing like Gomez, blah 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 blah, and just comic book, just a comic.
This is exactly what he looks like.
Yes, this is him. What are you talking about?
Right? Yeah, this is
They're in love with the whitewashing that was done.
Oh, right. Oh, gotta remove Reinhold. He's bringing up that truth again. The 90s was fine. Nothing bad happened in the 90s. But no, yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah. And, I think they did a good job because Gomez is supposed to be this unsettling, old worldly, you can't really place some guy, just creepy in the background, and I spot on. I think majority of the casting, I enjoyed. Even I'm ready to see Catherine Zeta-Jones as it's Catherine Zeta-Jones, right?
Morticia.
I said it right. Yeah, as Morticia. Yeah. And let's see, and Ortega as Jenna Ortega as Wednesday. The trailer, everything else, it looks amazing. And which I'm hopeful for this show more than anything else is because which unlike a lot of these reboots, reimaginings, and everything else that they have, they're not looking to I think they're full on nostalgia baiting. They're not we're going to sit here and get you right in the nostalgia and make you watch this because you remember the movies of the 90s. This is it. We're going to continue on, blah 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 blah, or rebooting that. No, it's just a part of this. They're just trying to tell they're just trying to tell a story. Just kind of but and there seems to be an actual overarching plot. Not just monster of the week or it seems like they actually have a plan with this show, and with Tim Burton on set as directing, and we've got Danny Elfman on music. Everything to me is set up for it. It looks like it's going to be a big hit. I will say Netflix had to spend a lot of money on this show. It looks like it spent a lot of money. And I'm in love with the trailer, but will it actually do anything? Go ahead, Vincent. You look like you want to go.
See, like,
go
the thing for me
put
is
a
that,
hole
like,
in my balloon.
of course I am, because as a person that only really, like, I've watched the old movies, because not the old movies, but I've watched some of the classic TV black and white version of it, as
Mhm.
well as Addams Family Values.
Mhm.
And for me, I do have concerns.
Okay.
Netflix has a tendency to make every show they bring back to be a high school drama thing, and they did the exact same thing again, where now she's in a academy for special kids, and it's like they've done 7 of these already, and then and I hope that the casting goes well. I'm not sure about Fred Armistice as Uncle Fester. It felt a little it felt like he was being Fred Armistice and not Uncle Fester when I saw it.
Me too.
But that's just
Me too.
that's just
Same.
my
Here's the thing: Christopher Lloyd is still around, and he would
Right.
look perfect
He
as
would be
Chester right
perfect.
now
I
at
know,
his
I
age,
know. That's my exact
right? I mean,
thought.
it's I don't. That's a miss.
No, it's time to pass the torch. Just let someone else do it. I am also on the fence. Like, if all the casting, yeah, Uncle
Fred
Fester
Armistice
is
being Fred Armistice was kind of,
because it's the same with Chris Pratt with Mario. It's just like,
yeah, exactly. He's being himself.
it's like, now I know he can pull off.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the like stuff that Fester does. Yeah, he can pull it off, but like, can you step out of yourself? You know.
The
What was the
trailer
meme I saw where they talked about how Mario spent years learning how to talk like Chris Pratt for the movie?
amazing. But I mean,
Such
it
good
could have just
work.
been because it was only in the trailer for like 15 seconds.
Right.
So it could be better.
Mhm.
But just from the little bit they showed, it was just Fred Armistice being Fred Armistice.
Correct.
Because
I have faith in Tim Burton that he wouldn't let him just do that.
the next thing is, I don't know the last good Tim Burton thing that he released, because I think the last one was maybe Sweeney Todd, and I don't know how long ago that was, because I don't keep track. Maybe Frankenweenie, when he made
Coraline.
it. What's Coraline? I didn't think Coraline was
Coraline was
Burton.
Tim Burton.
No, Tim Burton didn't do Coraline. Tim Burton didn't do Coraline.
I mean, Coraline's great because it was just Neil
Rewatched
Gaiman.
Coraline.
Because it's Neil Gaiman.
I'm thinking of something he did. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, he's often confused for Coraline.
Gaiman, that's right.
Yeah, he wrote Coraline.
Yeah.
As the book first. But
now, when you're saying Fred Armistice, are you
the guy that was on
saying
SNL?
Fred Armisen. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
You were confusing me with Armistice. I was like, is there somebody I don't know?
My bad.
There's a lot of new people. There's a lot of actors I don't know.
It
could have been any one of them.
Which he's hilarious, like Portlandia.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Which I know he can step out of himself in Portlandia. We've seen him do it, right? Easily can be able to do it. So, but we also know
it's only a small portion.
And we also know that Portlandia came out of his love for Kids in the Hall. So, to bring that back.
Thanks, Brian Holmes. Thanks. Yeah.
But I mean, the little bit of CGI they showed, it looked like TV CGI, which doesn't give me a lot of faith. The monster they showed, it looked like TV CGI. It didn't look.
That's beta. That's a beta.
Sure,
that's pre-rendered.
But this is just me being skeptical about it, because
ray tracing was
I'm
off.
probably not gonna watch it. I'm not interested in it.
Wow.
But I watched the trailer because you said we are gonna watch it because you want to talk about it. But yeah, from my perspective, it's just more of, it could be good, it could not be good. From the trailer, I see the potential, but I also see where it could easily crash and burn, because if they make Wednesday this all-powerful, knows everything person and kind of just makes the other characters irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
Where was Pugsley in the trailer? I don't think I saw Pugsley in the trailer.
You remember Addams Family Values? I mean, Wednesday
yeah.
was like the OG, knew everything, ran everything, was great. And Pugsy was like, "Hey, what's going on, guys?" And was around half the time. I mean,
Oh yeah.
that's
But like
focus of that
the way
character.
they were showing it kind of was that she was like beating up these people with ease and stuff. I was just like,
Well,
I don't know.
she was trained by one of the best swordsmen in the world, Gomez Adams.
I again, that I could see the potential for it being good, but I
Mhm.
can also see the potential for it to be bad.
Okay, all right. I'll give you that point. I'll give you that. Yeah,
Mhm.
it has rope. I will give it rope. Just like I gave Sabrina rope, and Sabrina hung itself many
And
times.
with Tim Burton, I think you're forgetting about the classic he did in 2019, the huge hit that was the greatest recreation of an earlier film ever made. So he's got history when he did Dumbo. So
Oh god,
obviously,
I forgot that movie.
Exactly.
obviously he's going to do
watched that
great on
movie.
Adam's Family.
Thank you.
I watched that movie. It was it was a live action
something.
Disney movie, that's for sure.
Dumbo, it
Mhm.
was one of my favorite Disney movies.
And they
The
tried to
classic
cut out
ones, yeah.
all the problematic stuff from the original Dumbo, and it just didn't
Mhm.
work right for some reason.
And
They just
shoehorn these random
added their
characters
own.
in.
They added in their own whole problematic stuff.
Yeah. I would
Ridiculous.
have just leaned into it. Okay, I would have leaned into it bad. I would have just leaned into it.
They definitely shoehorned a narrative around the characters that weren't there before,
Mhm.
and it's just it was something.
I
It was
would-
a movie I watched with my
You
eyes.
spent too much money on certain actors, but should have got Bill Burr. Like, listen, Hillberry, I need you to go get you, Doug Stanhope. All right, you guys got to play some people in this movie.
It was definitely a movie I watched with my eyeballs.
Oh yeah. Okay. We're not there yet. Abacabro. Okay. All right.
But he's 100% right.
All right. Okay. All right. Leave Leo Laporte alone.
He's going through things. He's got a family. He had a change in his home life that has caused him to be a little weird. So,
All right. Obviously, people want to move on from the Wednesday show. Okay, which I have high hopes. We'll come back. We'll put a pin in that. Come back to this after we get to see the first few episodes. I'm not gonna say we're gonna sit there and do like a review of each episode. We ain't doing that. Okay.
No.
we're gonna do a reaction channel. I thought we were gonna do reactions of this stuff.
Okay. Stop that.
That's how you That's how you get the views, man. You start the reaction channel. They come in and you feed them off on the other stuff later, right? So you gotta get their eyeballs clicking.
All right, so let's have a moment of silence for G4 TV as our homie G4 as no more. Let's pour one out. Pour it on your RGB. Okay. No, we're gonna pour one out.
DiSerrano. Here we go.
I'm still on Silver October. I'm 4 weeks sober. Okay. I feel amazing. Can't wait to go back to drinking.
Like before we really fully get into G4, all I say is like I didn't care about it coming back, and the only reason I cared was because I like Xavier Woods, the wrestler, and his YouTube channel, and he just wanted to be a host for G4 so bad that he openly campaigned to get G4 brought back. So
yeah, good reason. All right. So before we bury late, what is G4 TV? What got brought back? What is G4 TV? G4 TV for us 90s people in the early aughts. This was our before the YouTube age. This was our gaming channel. We had gaming news, tech news. We got to learn about like pop culture, cheat codes. We would tune into this thing to get like basically like help form and fuse the ball of. Like
it was a show that danced on the ashes of the better tech TV that came before.
Yeah, Tech TV was a lot better. I remember barely any of Tech TV, but Reinhold probably watched more of it. Reinhold, do you want to talk about what is Tech TV?
Oh, Tech TV. I watched when it first came out. I had a Dish Network, right? And it popped up on the Dish Network, and it was just guys talking and girls talking about tech.
Mhm.
And I'm like an engineer, and this is tech, and this is like great. And we're learning new things. I was learning all kinds of stuff, how to install firewalls, how to, because at the time we were doing Windows like 98 or something like that, or XP,
Mhm.
and you didn't have firewalls built in at the time. So you had to have your own different firewalls, which ones are good, which ones are bad, different types of AIM messengers and how those can work. It was just a great show around the tech world, as it were. And there were some fun shows on it too. They did some comedy stuff, and it was enjoyable to watch. It's where a lot of there was a show called Big Thinkers that was on there. So it was what was needed at the time to do that. And then the people who ran the publishing house that created it decided that they wanted to just rip it all apart and put something new and hip in there. So they fired most of the people who worked there, all the personalities and everything, and then popped in a G4 and Attack of the Show and all that stuff.
Yeah, to give it a little bit more hip or young, and because the system administrators were too busy worried about their servers and stuff like that, which is okay because we've got level 1 text now and it's better.
But just before we go on, just remember that when podcasting started to become a little bit popular, Leo Laporte got on and decided to get the old Screensavers crew back together, called it the Return of the Screensavers, and they got sued. They couldn't use that name anymore. So they called it Tech TV, and that show is still going, and it hasn't stopped since it got started 12, 15 years ago. So G4 went through 2 iterations during that time.
Still having pod pay to still keep going. Let's see. A lot of people are saying Heartland News, good riddance G4. The first year was better by a large margin. I forgot, like, Anime Unleashed was the best part. I was 11, and it was then I understood Asuka is best girl. Okay. All right. Although the Eat Girls had D. Okay. D Cubs main outfits. Let's be real, Reinhold. Tag of the Show was great at the beginning. X-Play was a decent show for the skits. All right. So, yes, X-Play, most of G4 did display a lot of, because of where their audience was, because, hey, people want to get paid. They understood that a lot of their audience was that teenage males.
Girl boys.
How do you get teenage males to focus on something very well? You put things that jiggle in front of them, and they will tune in
video games,
and they will tune in.
Combination of both is what does
exactly.
it.
Yeah. Just like any other video game, give them something, and then you splash them something else. Okay, and it was that rinse and repeat. But in between those segments, we got some really good. I don't know. Like, I think also at this time is when we actually started getting good reviews of video games. I think Adam Sessler helped push in that era of people be able to review video games, not just like, oh, you point, click, high score, blah, and actually see like some of the artistic value that you can see from video games, some of like the actually critiquing the game's story and its gameplay and how they all function and tell a complete, like continuing story. I think like a lot of that where I get that from getting it comes from Adam Sessler, which just does tick me off, like how he rants off on himself and how he really believes my political views have no worth anyways, but that's besides the point. So I'm saddened by that, but it is but this is what that channel was about. It was just trying to focus on gaming culture and it was trying to and basically it was using all this for money, and then fast forward some years, attack the culture that they built on.
The thing about the original version of G4 was me being a preteen to teenager watching it.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't internet like it is now, like it had like we have now, when a new game came out, you would rush to either get the new book that the Nintendo Power or whatever that had the game's reviewer in it, or you would watch, X-Play or something else to see what the actual games were about.
Yes.
Or you had stuff like Cheat, where they went through and did cheat codes and secrets and all those kind of things, so you didn't have to buy a strategy guide or didn't have to call like you did when in the 90s.
Yep.
And it showed a lot of the artistic parts of it too, because I can't remember which one it was, but there's one that basically either did music videos / just showed in-game cinematics for games.
Oh crap, what was that game? Oh, I can't remember that show's called that was on G4 that did that.
So it was able to see without having to fully play it or fully understand what was happening. Like the Final Fantasy VII remake that was announced for the PS3, that the first showing that they were going to show for that was on that channel. The showing how how they changed Midgard and made it massive and changed how it looked with newer graphics, and it was mind blowing because it wasn't this polygonal. Yes, cinematic. Exactly.
Yeah. Producer Skelecha.
It was, and there was a bunch of games that I would never play or I would never had a chance to play because they were either on consoles I didn't have or you couldn't afford it, or it was anything along those lines. Like the reason I know about Channel 5, the game with Utena.
Yeah.
It was because of those shows, because I had a Dreamcast, but I didn't have that game because gaming was more of a crapshoot.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we're talking about the era where, like, you most people like who game, like you saved all the money for this game, and without YouTube and a lot of people reviewing or live streaming it on Twitch, you had to go on like after the review embargo of someone talking about it, right? So like you gave a lot of trust into these things, so the gaming companies also paid them a lot of money, and that's where, like, I think, it's almost like they kind of remember that money rush that they got. And so when they go do this, I think they really messed up when they were trying, basically because the landscape, like you were talking about, the landscape has completely changed.
Right.
So many people grew up watching them, and when they gone, filled that void, right? Like, and just filled it organically. Like Angry Joe was just an angry rant for EA stuff, the same rants that like everyone else has done of it, and just considered like, okay, GeForce out here, people looking for video games. So like, crap, I'll just keep going,
right. Or when you look at stuff like Attack of the Show, right? They had a lot of skits, a lot of comedy and stuff. When that ended, people went to other shows that basically did the same thing, showing internet videos. And you have like The Soup, Smosh, or even on television where you had freaking Tosh.0 or whatever. Because they did the same thing, but in a one-man situation instead. It's more of that G4 at the time was the gaming community, because there really wasn't one around.
Right.
Because you weren't interconnected online with other people nearly as much at that point.
Yeah, it was so siloed. It was the one thing that would pull everything too, because like certain gaming communities would have like CS. You have your CS server of your local people, and you'd be on your local CS BBS, but like you didn't talk to anyone else.
Yeah, if you're playing Brood War, you're just playing Brood War, and that's it. Yeah. You're not talking. You're talking to other Brood War players, and
yeah. And it usually was like the game that you found, the game that you're playing, and it's it's how it was, like back in the dark ages before Discord, stuff like that. You guys remember your TeamSpeak and Mumble servers. God, I remember when like my TeamSpeak server died. I popped the capacitor, popped the capacitor mid, like I think we were playing Guild Wars. And capacitor took out the TeamSpeak server. And I was sitting there scrambling, trying to build a new computer so we could get this TeamSpeak server. It was awful. Yes, Advocate Bro. Yes, most of the time TeamSpeak was the hard R simulator. Yes, that's why like I only like getting on TeamSpeak servers I controlled, so I could just ban people. Like, oh, interesting, ban, IP ban.
But because of the how insular the communities were at the time, and it was this rallying point of all these other kinds of people coming together. Now that once it was gone, the internet expanded and everything. I remember, Paul.
No one remembers that. That's fine.
But
Trillo was great.
without that, the community's built without them. That's the big thing, is that for G4, when they rebooted it and brought it back, a lot of the personalities that they brought onto it were YouTubers or people that are already working in the gaming companies. On like one of the people, Avali, who was working for League of Legends broadcasting for like 2-3 years. Same for a couple of other people they brought on that were just already working in the gaming industry, and they were like, here, come do this. We're going to pay YouTubers to be a part of our thing because that's where everyone was.
Right.
But the issue is that people who wanted to watch the YouTubers would just go watch their channel.
Correct. Yeah. They're bringing people in. All right. So the downfall of this new era, right? So a lot of it was like, so this new G4 was basically a child, basically, let's be realistic, a child of one of these Comcast Xfinity execs wanted to be, wanted to work for G4, didn't get the chance to, but has the money, had daddy, spend the money, resurrect this channel and pull this thing up from scratch. We find this out from articles being written out, like, as the post-mortem from all this stuff. It's getting like being pulled out. This massive conference room that he didn't use because it was freaking work to get a channel up. They had no plan what they were doing. They had for some reason, they didn't know they wanted to be a YouTube channel, Twitch channel, and they had multiple YouTubes. Okay. Then they bought this very expensive office. They built this piece of tech, they built an office place in the air of, the virus of unknown origin and specified location. Like, what would you expect? A lot of people are going to go to work? Why? Those servers aren't there. You're streaming to servers that aren't located there. They're not there unless did you put servers there? Yeah, you put servers in the building. Wow, neat. But and then it's like, because you just need sound stages. Then most of the time when you look at most of the shows, a lot of the people were streaming from their regular studios. They didn't go to their studios. And then like the other thing is, which ticks a lot of people off when they go, they realize it's like, this is a California studio meant for California people, blah 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 blah. And locally said it best. I'm sick and tired of California and California songs and California people. I'm sick and tired of it. It is a bubble. It's fine that you're your bubble. I'm not interested. I want to hear some other people, some other thought. And I think there's another issue with it. If they would have built that somewhere else, because like it's going to be the same way in the next 10 years, probably with Texas, with everyone moving to Austin here in a bit. It's already this way when you start like looking at podcasts. It's like everyone's in Austin. I'm in the Austin area, and I'm like, you know what? You guys just did the same thing you guys with LA and San Francisco. Y'all just moved there. There's no spice to it, and you've got the exact same people that was working on like project over there. They just came across the street to work on this project, which you were in one of a super expensive area. So everyone work on this thing is super expensive, and it's just like, why? You could have put this anywhere. You could have put it in Atlanta, okay? But anyways. Because Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit, honestly, I think G4 would have thrived a lot better and did a lot better if they moved out that sucker out to the Detroit area and got out there and did something there. You would have got that space for cheaper. You would have did everything else. You would have got workers for cheaper too. And then you find out like most of the workers were contractors.
Yeah.
Which then they had to run with the hassle of California's contract law. So you were just wasting money on jumping through California's labor laws hoops, and then the cost of ownership and everything else there in California, which you could use a lot of that money just to get the thing up and running, because the thing is probably going to be a loss leader in the like first 2 to 3 years of just trying to get any networking just trying to launch anything. Like even like this show, like if I decided like to really dump money to get this thing big, all this thing's gonna be like crap. It's gonna be just I'm basically I'm burn the Spangle knows that he's like low key wall. It's gonna be work, but for the next 3 years, it's just burning money until like we build up a huge audience for this thing. Other than that, it's just burning money, burning work, burning things. But
the other thing about the other thing is that they entered into a gaming market which is in and of itself collapsing in on itself. It's eating its own tail.
Mm-hmm.
The most profitable thing in gaming, besides making the games half the time, is esports, and almost every single esports organization is running at a loss.
Mm-hmm.
All of them.
Yep.
There's like maybe 3 that aren't, and I think it's TSM, maybe G2, and then T1 because it's owned by T1 is a massive conglomerate organization in the telecom in Korea.
Mm.
And they just pay them to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like I love watching the PPL, the Paladin Pro League. I love watching Paladin stuff. Okay, and I'm missing like, oh man, I really could have watched some more Paladins Pro League, but it's like they were like, no, we were losing money on this thing. So we can't handle that, and the main reason you're losing money on it, same to the California problem. They're trying to be the NFL, now instead of trying to be the NFL back in the 60s. Okay, right, we're gonna play at this dirt stadium. Okay, yeah, the college used it last week, but it's okay. We're gonna have the Super Bowl.
Like the best example of showing it, what a perfect example of them just burning money without knowing what they're doing is that they were doing one of these big tournaments in League of Legends, and they were doing it in Houston, right near the college. And it turns out the event was when the kids were already out of school, so there was nobody there to fill the stadium. Because they didn't plan it around the college actually being in session. They just thought it was a cool location and went there. So
there's nobody there.
Right. It was like they maybe got to a third of the capacity that they were aiming for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that issue of all of gaming usually runs at a loss.
Yeah.
That's why you have a lot of things of watching game closures of studios.
So just to give you a little bit of background, I was one of 3 people who started one of these gaming leagues that ended up not going anywhere. It was for the game Dirty Bomb. It was called the International Mercenaries League. And we had a bunch of teams. We were going to do live broadcast of each one. So I was doing broadcast. There was another group that was doing this called Dirty Bomb League. And I did some live broadcasting on there of, commentary, where I realized I found out how hard that job is. You go watch, someone like Pansy who's doing this and she's so good at it, and you do it and you realize this is talent. You have to work at this. This is not easy. So, but we were putting together our own league, and what we found out was that most of the people who are programmers or think they're programmers are the most prima donna assholes you've ever met in your life. And they complained about everything. It got to the point where it's like, this isn't worth it. Screw y'all. We're done. We just quit doing it.
In North America. That's the other issue. Is that
this was Europe.
Is it in Europe?
Oh, Dirty Bomb is big in Europe. It was not big in North America. It was a big European game because it came from Wolfenstein, which was a whole thing, but it was all European based. So
yeah, because Europe is where most of CS:GO is popular. Yeah. There's some North America, but mostly it's all Europe for CS:GO.
Yeah, and that's the other issue is like I think a lot of the groundwork for a lot of the now we're getting into like the why esports is going to be trash, because we talk about this too off air, is that a lot of the groundwork of talent's not there. A lot of these people are especially in esports, they want like, well, they try to act like LeBron James on on PB&J budgets, like, hey, like if you guys don't like demand these massive salaries, stuff like that, and build this league, you can build something for the next generation, or you can just make yourself rich. What do you want to do?
Right, and then when you have interesting situations like that, like A great example is in CS:GO that arguably the best CS:GO team ever was the 2018 Astralis team.
Hmm.
The thing is that TSM bought the whole team and their manager the year before, 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner
Mm-hmm.
of TSM kept butting heads with this manager and wasn't promoting their CS:GO stuff at all. They were playing in like finals of tournaments and there was no social media buzz about it, and then blamed the manager for it. And then they left, went to Astralis, and became the best team in the world. Because the owners wanted money and the players wanted to win.
Hey, Reinhold, at least you've never had Marty Breadman moment while calling a match.
Well, that we know of, because nobody ever watched the matches we casted, so it could have been all kinds of crazy stuff happened on there that nobody knows about.
Yeah, Everett Cabrero says
and
Overwatch charges franchises money, $30 million, and only pays Koreans like $30K a year. If you're in Contender League, you really don't get paid. Yeah, that's the other thing is like it's a lot of these like these esports league take money and like the NFL, the NBA, instead of trying to like make small pickup leagues and stuff like that. You know, it's everything.
There's some Valorant leagues that are out there right now that are not doing too bad. They're not making a ton of money, but they're getting a lot of good talent playing because people just love it.
And Valorant is a very unique situation where Riot is learning where they messed up in League of Legends for Valorant. So for Valorant, they're paying teams to be a part of their league, compared to making teams pay to be in the league. For the LCS and the LEC, you have to buy into your spot. For the Valorant leagues, Riot's paying the companies to be a part of their league.
Yeah.
And the money there is reverse hands, so that way people have more an incentive to play better because they can stay in the league and keep making more money.
Right. Yeah. And then if you look at like these gaming companies that control the servers and stuff like that, they also do very bad at allowing anyone else to go do their thing unless you pay them their money. I think a lot of these gaming companies, if they want an esports league, I think the gaming companies should just do the best and just stay out of it, make the rules, make the game, and then release a piece of software and go like, you know what? Here's a license if you want to go do it.
The problem is you got to have the tools built into the game. Like we found that out with Dirty Bomb, where they did not have the good spectator tools built in from the beginning. So trying to admin spectate to get good camera angles for the casting was a pain.
Yep.
It was horrible to do.
Yeah. Same way with Paladins was trash.
Well, a perfect example of what you said is comparing the two the biggest versions of leagues, which are the CS:GO leagues, where Valve is completely hands off. They patch maybe once every 6 months, and that's it. And it's all run by third-party organizations that are doing their thing and now being paid by Saudi money, but that's different. That's a different issue altogether compared to Riot, who only Riot is allowed to do League of Legends events because Riot says so. And Tencent has to make the money off of it, because if you don't, then Riot will be mad and they don't want you to do that.
Right. So like, why would I want to play this game? Why want to do all this? Why want to, what's the point of doing that? What's the point of doing any of this, Because
and the answer. Oh, go ahead.
It would be the same way like back in the 70s. It's like if someone goes like, well, no, basketball is our thing. You can't play basketball unless you do something else. This is basketball. Basketball would have just died in the vine in the 70s. Michael Jordan, would have just been a very good volleyball player.
Or a mediocre baseball player.
Came back as Gandalf the Black. Thanks to ERB for that line.
Can't wait for one day like Michael shows up to Vincent like, are you talking smack? What
you talking about, Willis? So
my next response would be, you can talk to me when the Charlottes have a winning record.
When we get back to the the reason why G4 kind of failed the second time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a thing that I think that they didn't get, that a lot of people don't get, that Felicia Day hit on.
Okay.
Now, because she was talking, they just released all of the guild on YouTube, so you can go to YouTube
Yes.
and watch all the old guild shows now, because they were locked behind a bunch of stuff before, and it was kind of a weird thing. So I did watch the interview with her though, and she said she's thought about, because they had planned on doing the end of season 6 was supposed to be basically the pickup for an actual TV series.
Oh,
and it didn't work out. She started her own, Geek and Sundry and doing some other stuff. And she got into doing that. She didn't have the time for it. It was just too much on her at the time. So she decided to let it go. And then when she started thinking about bringing it back for do another season or whatever, like 5 years later, she said the industry and everything had changed. Nobody was doing guild gaming anymore. The online community, the World of Warcraft, all that stuff had kind of died down a little bit. So a lot of the jokes wouldn't land anymore. If they were doing the guild now, it wouldn't be a guild. It would be people on a server that played a whole bunch of different games together, right? So it'd be kind of a whole different mindset. So she's like, you have to understand what you're commenting about or what you're doing video, these shows about, has to resonate. And I don't think G4 understood that the whole industry had changed, and they were trying to cater back to what they had originally done, and not understanding that, and not building off of something new and what was current in order to make that last.
Correct. And the one thing that they could do to build off of and just steal from, they didn't also grasp on, like the late night stuff, like the late night, like live late night stuff on Twitch, stuff like that. Like when they had the VTubers on, stuff like that, they could show like people like live late night stuff. I think if they did something like X Play, like more live, and allow people to interact with the show, the thing was going on, and completely change, because how everything is on, because that's how a lot of people are. Like most people, especially like the younger generation, don't really drink alcohol, but they have no issue by buying subs. They're not. I won't buy you a beer, but I'll buy you a sub on Twitch. I'll send some cheers to somebody. I'll buy you a game and stuff like that. And that's what most people are doing, like especially on Saturday. And if they do drink at home, like, so I know you guys don't do VR chat stuff, right? None of you guys do VR chat, right? Do you do VR chat?
No.
Is that
I watch somebody who does do it though.
Oh, you want to come in VR?
Curvy Llama does it sometimes, and it's kind of fun when she does it. So
you want to come? I brought Niece into VR.
It's probably not. I don't know if it'd be a place for me or not, but
she'd be fine. Yeah, it's just,
I'm just like, I had my whole Second Life thing for a while. So
oh, if you like Second Life, you'll love VR. Chat. Come in VR. Come on.
Well, you don't
need your VR headset. If you want to just experience it, see what the heck is going on, you can go in with the regular screen in pancake mode and be flat. People will know you're in pancake mode, that you don't have the VR headset, and they understand, like, hey, I'm just figuring out if I really want to spend the money to get VR headset, and people will communicate with you and they'll try to help you and get you in. So I recommend it. If you love to get. There
was a place years and years and years and years ago, before 2000, by the way, it was in the 90s, a place called The Palace, where it was basically, you go into this room and you had your little avatar that you uploaded, and you'd talk to people based on, each other's avatars were kind of like stacked in a room, and you can move around the room visually on the screen, and you could go to another room and talk. And I ended up talking to some Australian girls who gave me their phone number. We called and talked to each other for a while, but that's the, late mid 90s,
player
like 96. Yeah.
Player right.
Yeah. Back when I was, decently looking.
Back when I was 2 years old.
Smoking Black and Milds, right hole with
it. Clove cigarettes, baby. You can't even buy those in the States anymore, by the way.
Can't get cloves anymore?
You can't buy clove cigarettes in the United States. And you can't order them and have them delivered either. They get stopped.
Oh, man. See, now I might be able to take like
federal ban.
Might take Vincent to Goth Night, because I feel bad like taking his little emo stuff to Goth Night. Like,
I mean, how do you go see Rocky Horror Picture Show without closed cigarettes? I don't get it. It's just weird.
I don't get it either. It's okay. It's okay. We'll
You
just
can buy
smoke some-
closed cigars, but
Yeah.
you can't buy closed cigarettes.
Oh, so I just have to roll my own closed cigarettes?
Yeah, I was in a tobacco shop the other day, and I was just like, why can't I get any closed cigarettes? And I went and looked online and found out that they had been banned about 5-6 years ago.
Wow. Trump hates goths.
I think it was Obama. It was in the
Was
end of the
it? Oh.
Obama area. Yeah,
Don't blame Obama, blame Trump.
it's all Trump's fault. Everybody knew
Yeah.
it was coming.
Orange man bad.
Yeah, orange man bad. Clearly like tanned people only.
Gotta like the shade, right? That's another
Mhm.
ERB line.
Yeah.
I don't like the shade.
Okay,
You're just Barack's. Was it? You're just Barack's shadow, and I don't like the shade.
Mm-hmm.
That was Trump's line to Biden in that ERB. It was just like,
Okay. All right. Amica Bro says Obama hates goths because their soul is blacker than he will ever be. Okay. Put you in the back there. Okay. Anyways,
Former mod of the channel.
yeah.
But talking about game stuff, because you wanted to also touch on this, is that there was a developer that was complaining about when they're trying to make new games that they have to make games for the Xbox One S, not just the Series X.
For Reinhold's sake, can you describe to him what's the difference between the two versions of Xbox?
Sure. It's like if you had Windows 2000 and you had to make stuff for Windows 98 after Windows 98 was already canceled.
Which Microsoft is notorious for doing. They built themselves on backwards compatibility. You could do new things, but it had to kind of work with the old. Then they had compatibilities and stuff like that they did. And that's why there's still pieces of actual MS-DOS in Windows 11 because they have that backward compatibility for some of that stuff. They can't just make a clean break. And they're doing the same thing here with the consoles. They don't want to be seen as making everybody jump off to the new console. But as I understand it, it's the second generation of games coming out. And maybe the first generation you understood why they were doing it, but the second one, they're getting frustrated. The game developers are getting frustrated with having to code back their games when they want to do more stuff. Like when you buy PC gaming, they're always pushing the limits and saying, "Oh, this won't work for this and this won't work for that." But remember how much crap that Microsoft got just because they said there was a minimum hardware requirement to run Windows 11.
Yes.
Right?
They eat a lot of shit for that. And so they're in a no-win situation on there, but they're going to have to bite the bullet and let it happen. So
it's one of the biggest issues with the gaming industry for that. It's always been an issue with, especially with the consoles, is that when a new console comes out, they constantly support an older console for way longer than it needs to be. Right. I'm pretty sure the PS2 had games during the PS4 era.
Probably.
I think the last game was like a FIFA game during the PS4 era.
Probably. I believe
because
they were still making PS3 games.
Yeah, but even now, like they're doing Resident Evil 4 remake. Yep. They're basically taking the old Resident Evil 4 and making it look great in the new engine, the new RE engine. And when they announced it, we're doing it for PS4 and PS5 and Xbox One S and Xbox Series X, and it's like, you guys realize that those consoles are obsolete at this point. Comparatively, if you're trying to advance your graphics stuff, so what's the point of upgrading to bigger and better graphics cards when the games aren't going to match it because they have to work across the PS4 and a high-end PC and an Xbox One X.
It's got to run smooth.
Or Series X. It has to at least run at like 30 frames a second on the PS4 and 60 on everything else. So you're just downgrading your games as you're working on to make it fit this very strict coding that you've been told you don't have to use anymore because your company is like, we still want to support the people who have the PS4.
Yeah. And it gets to that back to what we were talking about, like letting them drown in their GPUs. Because if you're trying to tell me, like, you want me to go off and buy this new series of GPUs, right? NVIDIA wants me to buy this new one, which clearly wasn't meant for me, wasn't meant for PC gaming. This new GPU was meant for crypto mining. Stop lying. Stop it. Stop. I know that thing was not meant to go in my case. That was meant to sit in some warehouse in China. You know it. I know it. Stop lying. And why should I buy this thing? Put it in my case when I know that if the Series S is just running a 2060, I don't need an upgrade.
Right, my game will run smooth on my computer.
Play smooth. You know. Or I'll buy me a used 30 series. Just one up your 20 series, or I'll just wait until you drown in 40 series hardware and release a good 50 series or the 69 series. Hopefully, I'm waiting for that.
I've never
gone bleeding edge on that.
Thanks to Scalger for the research. He found out the last PS2 game came out 7 days before the PS4 came out.
Wow.
And Reinhold, you're frozen. Your game is frozen.
That's fine. That's normal.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
It'll pop in a second.
Which some of my favorite.
I shouldn't have flashed this blue light in front of it. It probably caused it to fuzz out. Hold on a second.
Yeah, I'm broke.
You reset it.
Yeah, one of my friends, like he says, like the Pro Evolution Soccer thing was so much better than the FIFA soccer games. It actually was simulation soccer.
Mm-hmm. Until the newer ones,
which is why we'll be working there at the remember, did you ever get to see us when we were refurbishing the game consoles at that when we worked at the recycling center?
No, but I knew they were around.
Yeah, so
you still had the N64 where I showed you how Jigglypuff works in Smash.
Yeah, so we would constantly just play like FIFA games on there so it was like, well, how do we know if these games are like these consoles are ready to resell them? Like, you give it to a bunch of dudes for a week playing Pro Evolution Soccer 4-on-4 tournaments all week. If it can last without them crashing and complaining about it, everything's good to go.
Fair.
Trust me, it is being burnt in.
It's just the restriction on gaming that they're trying to push advancement while also putting a weight around their neck, while also preaching you need the next big better thing, knowing that it doesn't matter. Like the next biggest baddest game, let's say God of War Ragnarok or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. If it's gonna be on the PS4 as well, then what's the point?
There was the point. Oh, but you can turn ray tracing on.
So
woo.
Does it run 60 frames per second? And am I getting lag spikes? Yep. Cool, then I don't care.
I don't care.
The graphics can look as pretty as you want them to be. As long as I can figure out what I'm looking at the screen, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Literally, I played Spider-Man on the PS4 and was amazed at how great it looked on the PS4. So it's like...
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. If you were gaming in the CRT coax days, this is like, look at these guys like, bro, like, I'm good. I can see
the key was always is gameplay. Is the gameplay good? I'll suffer some graphics. You know, we play Paladins. It's not the best graphics in the world.
Whoa! This is great graphics.
I used to play H1Z1. You know, that was never top tier graphics. It was the game that we played. It was the enjoyment of it. Like, you want it to look good, but you'd want it. I'd rather have it look like Minecraft and be playable and fun.
That's true.
The game I have the most hours on my Steam is Binding of Isaac, which is 2D roguelike, and everything looks filthy and disgusting, and also Bible connected.
Yeah. I'm playing 7 Days to Die, which has been in alpha status for 8-9 years now.
Forever.
And it's not like got the greatest graphics in the world, you know, but
one of the games that like was close to or definitely won game of the year was Celeste, which was a 2D platformer that did the graphics aren't everything. It was just a fun game. Same with something like Undertale.
look at. I'm trying to get some classic arcade games in here to put behind me, right? But uh, I'd rather play some of those games. Like Galaga is my favorite game. I play that. I'll play that all the time. And Defender, another great game. Where you screw around, you pick people up, and it was great. Lunar Lander, it was lines, asteroids, lines. Those types of games. Those were fun though, and there's a bit of a nostalgia kick to it, I'm sure. But it's some of those games are more enjoyable than 90% of what's out there right now.
Yeah. Instead of fixing this house, Reinhold's going to build an arcade in his backyard.
I did. I was looking at getting a 1-up, but the 1-ups, I mean, they're fairly cheap, but they're also like 3/4 size. So it's like, it's not vintage.
I mean,
you get a vintage one. There's a place in their town that does vintage. It's really good, I guess, and you can get some, but they're like $2,000, $3,000. As opposed to like $400, you can get one up with all the games on it.
Yeah.
With all the traffic's cleared up, I thought about going up to Boss Battles on Fridays now. We should do some good arcade gaming.
Have you played around with the machine that has like 1,000 games on it? In Boss Battle?
No.
It's towards the back, and it's like I played Puzzle Fighter. I think it was Puzzle Fighter 2 because it was just on the machine.
Nice.
Because there's a bunch of a bunch of ROMs of games. I'm pretty sure the JoJo fighting game's on it somewhere.
You can buy those ROMs for a home setup that you have. You can put them in. But you're saying what's Boss Battle?
Boss Battle Games is an
arcade.
Is an arcade that's in Castleton.
So it's like halfway between like Keystone It's Crossing and
it's in the
Castleton.
Mall. Yeah, it's in the mall.
It's in the Castleton Mall. Okay. There was a place halfway between that was like a big place you go into, and they had tons and tons of video games. We used to play there, but that place closed down like 8 years ago, 9 years ago. So, but this is a place you can go play arcades.
It's in Castleton Square Mall. You can pay.
Yeah. I'll be there.
You pay $10, and then
they had to raise the price.
$15, and they just give you a wristband. You just keep playing. You can leave and come back as long as you have the wristband.
Yep.
I'm hungry. Go to Food Court, come back, and then they have a whole middle section where there's a bunch of classic games. They have like Tron, the classic Tron thing, but they also have like TVs.
There's a series of games I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I go
the Initial D machine.
Yeah, I go for Initial D to destroy people.
They have an F-Zero cabinet, racing cabinet,
and pinball. They got pinball.
Yeah. They have plenty of pinball machines on the walls. They have DDR. They have rhythm games.
Pump It Up. They got Pump It Up.
If they have Elvira, my wife will be there.
Don't know if they have that. I don't know.
They don't know who we are, but it'll be funny. That's fair. That's fair, Scouser.
So yeah.
We can start a whole thing. Yeah.
Head in there. Hey, well set me.
Yeah, but they it's definitely just a fun little arcade. They have last time I went in there, they had the X-Men arcade game, the side-scrolling beat 'em up with the 6 spots for the 6 people to play.
And it's not like a bar either. It's just an arcade, so it's not like those barcade things that you go to, like everyone's sitting around drinking and the controllers are sticky. No, these are gamers.
Yeah,
people are there to game.
They have a wall of fighting games which range from like Tekken 3 to 5 and Street Fighter 2, and then they have like a standing Street Fighter 3 cabinet where it's like either side has the people on it and you're facing against each other like they originally had. It's really cool.
All right, I'm gonna have to ban Iskiliges. All right. Before we get too much, this episode's getting long on the tooth, so we will have to end it. So that means our next episode will be on. You guys want to do an episode on Halloween night?
I mean, I have nothing better to do.
You're gonna pass? Well, because like Candy will be done passing out around here at 8:00.
We don't do. We're in the country. There's no point. We don't do candy out here. There's nobody lives near me as kids right now, so.
Wow. Wow. You guys can just have.
There's like 4 people in the like the mile area where mile diameter.
You could just go around and just like do bar shots. It's like, here's a beer, some vodka.
It's either that they don't do it out here, or it's just that I'm I'm the one house that is always don't go there.
That's
Yeah,
probably what
they're
it is.
weird.
That's probably what it
Yeah,
is.
a
Scary
single
place.
man living by himself. Kids don't come to the door.
Wow. Wow.
They don't come to.
Single
That's just
man?
how it is.
Wow.
I am married, you know.
No, I'm talking about me.
Oh,
I'm
you.
talking about me.
This is
Trust me, they don't come to my house. Not
that's the
you,
Dakarama whisper. Anyways,
And don't throw because you're
I
mad you didn't
will-
get Donatello. Come on.
I will check on Halloween night whether I can do that or not.
okay.
Because I've got a feeling that it could be a case where my wife is like, we should stay up and watch scary movies and hang out all night. So that could be a thing that happens.
That's fine. That's fine.
Worst
right.
comes to worst, we'll talk about something. Talk about spooky
I
stuff
don't
at
know.
some point.
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? We'll be here next week. Don't know. Don't know if we're here.
We
We're
could talk
here.
about this new show coming out on Netflix called Wednesday.
All right. So, anyways, welcome back to my show. Like I said, this episode's getting long in the tooth, so we need to get this show, pack this show in, and say our goodbyes, get this show done, and see you guys next time as we get ready, because we're still scheduled for Black Friday for our long 6-hour episode. I'm gonna start sending out invites for that.
Now,
this week.
so you showed me this show that went 9 hours, right? So we're not going to try and beat that.
No.
All right,
No.
just saying.
No.
You'll let them take the mantle. Okay.
They can have it. They can have it. They apparently broke the one time they streamed so long they broke StreamYard. Like StreamYard broke. Okay. They it actually stopped pulling on the stream, so it just kept going longer than the stream caught.
There's a YouTuber that does Mr. Creepypasta who does like a 24-hour stream of creepy stories.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure at one point it stopped and it was like 2 weeks on YouTube of length because like something happened and it stopped playing and he had to start it up again. So the file was 2 weeks of stories.
Poor YouTube. Anyways, say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
So long.
Stop. Just the joke's so old. That's what they're ancient jokes. Just stop it. Stop. All right. Bye.